And welcome to another dose of virtual vitamin Z. This is DZS News for the week of May 30th, 2022. I'm your co-host, Stephen.
And I'm your co-host, Claire. As always, we'll get started with some Detroit Zoological Society updates. Stephen, what do we have this week?
Well, you all know and love Tubby the tortoise, and we've just got to say that Tubby is a tortoise on the move. That's right. He used to live in the area between Buddy's Pizza and the vulture habitat. We call that the pampas sometimes. And he has moved now. So now he's situated between the giraffe habitat and the warthog habitat in an area we sometimes call the veldt. And the coolest part about this is that he was able to move all that way there on his own. We had, a pretty fun experience, our animal care staff did, of walking with him over there. And there are a lot of benefits for him being over there now as opposed to in that pampas area.
Stephen, you're totally right. So Tubby obviously can't stay out during the winter. He's a tortoise. It gets too cold here in Michigan. So the animal care staff would have to move him like in the winter, in the summer. He'd have different places that he had to move to. Now that he's moved out to share this space in the back of the zoo, there's a large enough indoor space that he'll just be able to come in and out from that same space. And he won't have to make these long walks again in the future. And it'll be a better situation for him. He's got a lot of space out there. And if it's anything like how he ruled the territory over here near the Ford Education Center, I imagine that he's going to have the zebras and the wildebeest at his whim once he gets settled in there.
Definitely.
In other updates, Senior Day is Wednesday, June 1st, which is very exciting. So all of our Tri-County seniors who are 62 and older and one adult guest will receive free admission and parking. You don't need reservations to partake in this adventure on Wednesday. So we do have a couple fun activities that are going to be planned. There's live entertainment. There are tram tours. So those are like the motorized tram cars that drive through the zoo. There's bingo, some habitat chats by our zookeeper and animal care staff, and a senior resource area. So senior resources from around the metropolitan Detroit area will be there to share what they have to help support our senior population. It's always a ton of fun. So if there's someone in your life who fits into that 62 and older category, make sure you encourage them to come on out on Wednesday.
Yeah, I'm really excited for this. I remember the last time we did this, it was just a lot of fun being able to kind of walk through and see some of the events, how some of the experiences, things like that. So real glad that we're able to bring that back this year.
Yeah, I was just trying to think of the last time we did it. It may have been all the way back in 2019.
Mm-hmm. I think so.
So welcome, seniors.
And then finally, we have an exciting announcement, which is that this Saturday is Butterfly Education and Awareness Day. And I like the timing of this day because this is about the time of year where if we go out, and especially if we go into an area where there are a lot of indigenous plants and flowers, there's a good chance that we're going to be seeing butterflies. And they're just such incredible animals. I'll be honest, I wasn't all that excited or into butterflies before I started working here, but the excitement about them is contagious, and it is just really cool to see them. So I encourage you all to go out and check them out on Saturday for Butterfly Education Awareness Day.
Speaking of butterflies and Saturdays, this past Saturday I was out in the garden with my daughters, and there was a swallow. I believe it was a swallowtail. I was a good distance away over in the lilac bush, and I was super excited about it. So they are back and looking for sources of nectar. So I'm glad that my garden is in full bloom.
Awesome.
All right, on to our feature story. And this one's very exciting. The Holden Reptile Conservation Center staff have welcomed a baby Mccord Box Turtle. And you might be thinking, well, don't they have baby turtles fairly often? They do from time to time, but this is especially important. Mccord's box turtles are one of the most critically endangered species in the world. The baby turtle was found behind the scenes in one of the habitats here at the Holden Reptile Conservation Center. And the hatchling, who's about the size of a $50, I know we don't use coins all that often anymore, but pretty small, was a little bit of a surprise. The mom had hidden her egg, much like she would if she was out in the wild. And the habitats in the Holden Reptile Conservation Center are designed to give each reptile everything they need to thrive, and in this case, reproduce. So everything went well.
Yeah, it's really exciting. It's like a combination of both a testament to obviously conservation success, but also to animal welfare success. As you mentioned, and something that I didn't realize, for quite a while was that great welfare, one sign of an animal thriving is that they're more likely to reproduce. And kind of the flip side of that is if they're not thriving, then they're less likely to reproduce and have viable offspring. So just really cool to see how both of those efforts paid off in this case, and very excited to welcome, I will say, really, really cool looking baby animal. I love how baby turtles kind of look like adult turtles, just miniaturized. Pretty cool.
Yeah, I agree. The picture that they had and they shared out through Facebook was really neat. A lot of facial expression.
Seemed kind of a little bit sassy, maybe.
We'll have to check in with the reptile staff and see how much personality this baby has.
Yeah.
All right. So as always, let's go over our education preview for the week. We're starting you off with DZS News on Monday morning at 11 o'clock.
Next up on Tuesday, we have a Green Journey episode, and this one is going to focus on how to stay cool while also staying green.
On Wednesday, our virtual habitat chat will be at Neo, the southern cassowary. We'll learn a little bit more about her.
Next up on Thursday, the Amplifying Voices post is going to be on 500 Queer Scientists, which is a website that features profiles on 500 different queer scientists.
And then, as usual, you're going to wrap up the week for us, Stephen, with humane tips, with some humane gardening tips.
Yeah, I thought it was fitting because we're talking a lot about, the next day, butterfly education and awareness. And there are some ways that we can have a beautiful garden, whether that's a flower garden or a vegetable and food garden, while also supporting the local wildlife, including right now butterflies. So we'll have some tips on how to do that. All right, that's all we have for this week. Thank you so much for joining us. And as always, stay healthy, Detroit.